Thursday, October 31st. Happy Halloween. Welcome back to the Damon Bruce Show, brought to you by Ike Sandwiches. And today, make absolutely no doubts about it, too. We are brought to you by BetUS, this live stream being powered by them as well. And man, you got some good memories out there. Right away, the very first comment I see is basically, geez, is Damon going to wear the chicken outfit again? I love that he did that last year. I can't believe that you remembered the chicken outfit from last year. The chicken outfit is upstairs, and it's going to be broken out tonight for Halloween for the kids. We do things for kids that we normally wouldn't do. I probably should have worn the chicken outfit. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm sorry I didn't. I can feel your disappointment. It is great to have you here, though. Thank you very much for being here. I mean, that's a sip of the day right there. We're just right on it. We got up early this morning. We got underway this morning. Kids went to school. We got Halloween costumes on kids. We got mine ready to go. We're going to get into our main topic here in just a second. But let me tell you with absolutely no hesitation, not just about my sponsor right here, not just about my guy, this guy, Ike. Happy birthday to Ike's Sandwiches, turning 17 years old today. Ike's opened his very first Ike's Sandwiches, and look at him now, over 100 locations throughout the West Coast and expanding eastward. That's my guy right there. Wow, 17 years already from my man Ike celebrating. And I want you to get on board with what Ike's is doing right now with that new app of his. I want you to download it, sign up for the Love Rewards program. You will earn your way towards free sandwiches. You'll get a free sandwich just the minute you sign up. You'll play for free chips, free drinks, all kinds of things to spin and win, possibly even a trip to New Orleans for a very large football game that'll be happening there early next year. So my man Ike is thriving, and so are we because of him. You eat well. He has done an incredible job being a friend to me, being a sponsor of this show. I've done an incredible job being the name of one of his single best, most selling sandwiches ever. Get a Damon Bruce and eat one today. You'll be happy that you did. Join us, please, at the Dubliner. Be there. I hope you will be this Sunday for Pluce Mania 5, the Pluce inning. I see Carl is already in the chat saying that he's going to be there. Fantastic, Carl. Bring your dad. Bring everybody to the Dubliner as we hang out starting at noon on Sunday. And, of course, we are brought to you by BetUS. And we got a very curious Thursday night line to look at here, and we will in just a little bit. But again, great to have you here. Let's hop into the big topic that is the star of today's thumbnail. And the star of today's show is the lesson that I hope the 49ers not just have learned, but apply to future seasons. Now, the lesson so far of this year could be interpreted in many different ways, right? You could say, well, the lesson is, hey, draft well, get a good rookie class. That's really helping the 49ers this year. Well, drafting well is really not a lesson as much as it is the goal, the hope of every offseason. You can't really control the draft any more than evaluating, picking, and then hoping that player fits. It's really not completely in the control of the San Francisco 49ers. So that's really not the lesson. Well, how about the lesson that, special teams is officially like a third of a football team, and look at the damage done to the other 2/3 of your football team by this 1/3 of your football team, which for whatever reason is not prioritized, is not circled, highlighted, and italicized as a point of emphasis or concern. And it's mind-numbingly painful to see how bad year in, year out the 49ers are on special teams. And we're really not even talking about the guys who do the kicking, the punter or the kicker. We're talking about kickoff coverage. We're talking about punt coverage. We're talking about limp-wristed returns that don't get you nearly the starting field position that you hope for. It's just one big yawn at best on special teams for the 49ers. But again, the mantra, the special teams matter, is more of like a mantra. It's more of a philosophy you'd like your coaching staff to adopt. And even if you do adopt it, it is not guaranteed to win. You are still at the mercy of how a football game plays out, and weird things happen. on every Sunday in every football game. So there really isn't a lesson that can be applied other than, geez, let's concentrate more on that. Probably going to serve you well if you do that. Neither of those things are, to me, the priority of what this coming offseason needs to look like for the 49ers, and the lesson that they need to apply to themselves to have total control of this moment. And it's a moment that I think they let slip them in the name of, I don't know, this is how we do things, this is tradition, this is stubbornness, I don't know. The single lesson that I hope the 49ers have taken away from a stop-start first half to the 2024 season is stop negotiating so late in a player's window on a player of impact who you know you're going to bring back. Like, I could see how the Brandon Ayuk situation was we really don't know what we're going to do. There's what we kind of want to do. There's the price that we want to do it at. There's his desire to maybe be on another team. There's our desire to maybe move on from the player. We don't, Brandon Ayuk came with a lot more moving parts than he wants more money and we want to keep him. Trent Williams came with no more moving parts than that. We definitely want to retain him. That's 100% agreed upon. He wants a little bit more money. So what are we going to do? We're going to negotiate really hard with the player that we cannot do without. And then at the end of that negotiation, what did the Niners really save? They saved nothing. They're paying sticker price. They're paying a premium for Trent Williams, and that's fine. But that price, I'm sure, could have been agreed upon in week 1 of his holdout rather than the last day of his holdout. I don't understand. And if you're saying, well, Trent didn't want to participate in an awful lot of the preseason, fine. Then he doesn't have to. But sign him and get him in and get it done and get him healthy and have him not looking like half the Trent Williams he used to have in some of these games, which have turned into losses. The 49ers, with their offseason negotiations, saved no money with Trent Williams nor Brandon Ayuk. But what they did do is buy themselves losses, easy to avoid losses, because I do believe that a not ready to go right from game 1 Trent Williams has affected this season just a bit. And certainly, you weren't even getting anything out of Brandon Ayuk right until he hurt himself, and now you're going to get nothing out of Brandon Ayuk. Like, the only sunny side up of the Brandon Ayuk injury is it really shouldn't affect this year based on what we've seen so much so far, because he hasn't done jack shit. Why hasn't he done that? Why has this determined $30 million a year player gotten off to such a slow start? Well, maybe it's because he missed all of the offseason. And oh, by the way, while he was missing all of the offseason, not only were you actively, as a football team, stunting a player's ability to hit the ground running in week 1, but the bad vibes, just to avoid them. Like, we heard that the 49ers, when it comes to these contracts, are just a slow-moving team. Like, George Kittle talked about that the 300 times that he was asked about the Brandon Ayuk situation. Well, they just move slow. They're slow to negotiate. They do it, late. They don't do it early in the process. They do it late in the process. They don't want players injured with the new contracts, so they do it late. Just the way they do business. Go get another way of doing business. That's the lesson that I hope you apply to other seasons coming forward. No, I'm not talking about make sure you get your 9th offensive lineman signed and happy and all that stuff, but a starter, someone who you need, someone who is nothing to discuss here. Of course, we're retaining him. Get that player retained faster. That is totally in the Niners' control. Look, the Niners' way of doing business has directly cost them wins this season. Like the Bosa holdout from years ago, that was a warning that they chose to ignore. Trent Williams, again, he's been unusually sloppy so far this year, and Brandon Ayuk's production sucked before he got hurt, and now that he's hurt, you don't even get that. Now, I don't think that his training camp would have prevented his knee getting ripped apart, but who knows? They saved no money in these harsh, careful negotiations. They protected no flank in these harsh, careful, long, just ongoing negotiations. They saved no money. They circled no wagons. And if they did, they circled them around nothing. And they did it all to give the players the deal that still come with a degree of sticker shock that means, well, why didn't you just give this number on the first day? Now, I know that Ayuk was given a number and he thought about it for a month and all that happening too. But that's not what I'm talking about here. The 49ers just got to approach players that they decide that we're, of course, keeping this player and get them signed. Get it done early. Just stop stunting your own offseason growth or progress. And I feel like they did a massive job with it. So next year, don't do it. Have player, like player, sign player. That should be the new formula going forward. That should be the 49ers' new business model, not how crafty and late in the game can Parag get this done. Have player, like player, sign player. Try that. And have Mike Silver writing something other than about bad vibes for 4 straight months. Wouldn't that be nice? Sounds like a great idea to me to go forward with. So that's the big lesson. That's what I hope the lesson is going forward. So go ahead, hit like and subscribe if you will, please. That is a lesson to share with everyone who is watching right now in this room. Hit like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. It helps the algorithm push this video out. And it helps more people find out that we're all getting together at the Dubliner on Sunday at noon to hang out during the bye week. It is week 9 in the NFL. And let me tell you, the NFL gets going with a really weird number. I got to show you this from my friends over on BetUS, right? Look at this. This opened at New York Jets -2.5. It's been bet down to -1. What is going on there? What is going on? You're telling me, so at home, a desperate as hell Jets team is going to use their defensive line to take advantage of Houston's weakness, which is their offensive line, and that Stephon Diggs being done for the year is going to have CJ Stroud so crestfallen and looking for targets that the Texans are off kilter? You telling me that Aaron Rodgers reaches into his bag of what he used to be and pulls out an old version of himself one more time here? Maybe. But you're telling me there's a 6-2 team going up against a 2-6 team, and the 6-2 team is the team getting the points? I'll take the team with the better record and the points. I don't care if they're on the road or not. I don't care who got hurt. I don't care what the other team's desperate situation is. I mean, there's definitely minutia to get wrapped up in here. We ain't getting wrapped up in that level of minutia. So what we're going to do here on this All Hallows Eve is take the better team and the point that I can get here on BetUS. I'm going to go ahead, and because it's Halloween night, we're going to ramp this bad boy up. We're going to put $75 on this homeboy because it's the only game in town. I'm going to be handing out, all sorts of candy and trick-or-treating with my kids. I'm going to be ducking in. I'm going to be watching a game. I'm going to be paying attention to it on my phone. I can't really watch it, which is kind of the best way to bet a game. I'm not going to sweat it. I'm just going to do it, and we're going to see if it actually happens. So there we go. Let's see what we got with our good friends over at BetUS. And by the way, you get a 150% deposit bonus right now over on BetUS when you sign up with promo code YouTube150. That 150% match is up to $2,000 on your first deposit and up to 125% up to $2,000 on your next 2 deposits. But you're only going to need one to make one deposit, and then you're just going to start winning huge, and you're going to be very, very happy. So there you go. Thanks so much to our friends at Bet. We have made the bet. We are on Houston. And why wouldn't you be? They're the better team. My God, the New York Jets. Who's carrying water for the New York Jets after they lose to the Patriots? What the hell's going on there? I see an awful lot of chats. I see an awful lot of things being discussed. And let me tell you, we will get to all of you in Club Pluce. It's Halloween. We're opening Club Pluce. I'll tell you that my wife, Jillian, she got some outdoor lights. They look like Christmas lights, but they're Christmas lights on steroids. They're little LED lights, and they can turn any color you'd want, and they blink in patterns, and you can design a pattern. And they're all orange and Halloween-y outside right now. I might have to get them in here for Club Pluce. Like, I mean, you can turn any room into a discotheque with these things. So we might have some new lighting technology to install here at some point in time, certainly around the holidays. Chef A, how about them Dubs? Chef A, we're going to get there. How about my boy Trace Jackson Davis, right? We're going to get there in just a second, but one more note on the 49ers before we sort of turn our attention to some other things that are going on in the world of sports. Every article this week has been about potential trades, right? Dan Graziano is out there suggesting the 49ers reunite with DeForest Buckner or DJ Jones, and how this makes an awful lot of sense. But then he immediately goes on to say, but in order to do a trade, the other trade needs to, the other team's going to need to want to trade these players. And he doesn't see the Colts nor the Broncos wanting to trade those players. So then he pivots to, like, okay, what's gettable? What's doable? Now, here's a name that we have not discussed. We've talked about a lot of names. We talked about Savage. We've talked about Ojulari. We've talked about, big ticket items. We've talked about small ticket items. Here's a name that we have not seen until, researching what the latest trade rumor might be. If the Niners are looking to add up front on the defense, their more likely trade candidate could be New England's Davon Godchaux. The Patriots seem to be moving guys who they've recently extended. He's got a $4 million guaranteed salary next year, and he's not particularly a great against the run or the pass, but he's a good rotation piece. And he's locked in at an approachable price. And so that's doable, gettable. Maybe Davon Godchaux is a player that, the 49ers will kick some tires on this week. Kyle Posey of Niner Nation said, the 49ers are in a little bit of a tricky spot because they have some important decisions to make on some very big contracts in the coming season. But you can't get closer to winning a Super Bowl without prevailing than they did back in February. And the Niners feel they own it to the rest of the guys in that room to give it their very best possible shot. Well, yeah, I mean, the Super Bowl window doesn't stay open forever. And as a matter of fact, it might be closing right now. You do have reinforcements on the way from inside your own locker room. One or two pieces from outside the locker room could change prospects dramatically, and change dramatic prospects are exactly what the 49ers are looking for as they start the second half of this year. What they need to do is stop making mistakes. It's funny, when you add up the most penalized teams in all of football, the Niners are not really at the top of that list, although they have had, it feels like, an inordinate amount of penalties. The way it feels that way is because these penalties have all come at the wrong time. Very interesting story on Niners Nation about how the 49ers are among the least penalized teams in the NFL on a per-play basis, but unfortunately, most of their offensive penalties are directly correlated to taking points off the scoreboard. Against Minnesota in week 2, this article goes on. This is from Kyle Posey once again. Does really good work over at Niners Nation. Kyle Posey said, look, against the Vikings in week 2, Jordan Mason had a 10-yard run negated by a Deebo Samuel holding penalty. So instead of 1st and 10 in Vikings territory, it was 1st and 20. They never crossed midfield, and Mitch Wishnowski's punt was blocked on that drive. There were multiple first downs wiped away by penalties and holding penalties against the Rams in week 3. The data backs up that the 49ers are doing as much to take points off their own scoreboard as any defense that they're playing. Through 8 weeks, look at this chart that I got off of Niners Nation. Look at this. I want to share this with you. Look at this. This is expected points lost on an offensive touchdown negated by penalties. The 49ers are at 14 points. They've had at least 2 touchdowns taken away because of their own penalties. Look at that. Look at how screaming ahead of the rest of the league they are in this category at 13.64, while the Seahawks are, down there at 8.45. Was that 9.45? My eyes are terrible. I'm a little squinty. They are hurting themselves and getting penalties at the worst possible times. They have taken 14 points off the board with the penalties that they're picking up. I mean, it's let me turn the camera back on. Stop making the terrible mistake that takes away your score. I guarantee you Kyle Shanahan is emphasizing that during the bye week as they're getting everybody revved up and ramped up and ready to go. A very interesting schedule, like I said, for week 9 begins tonight with, Texans, Jets. Hopefully the Jets don't have that many more primetime appearances because they are unwatchable. They're terrible. Some games, though, that you just, pop right out to you. Bears and Cardinals is pretty sneaky interesting. Like the Cardinals have a chance to prove themselves one of the more sneaky good teams in the NFL with a win over the Bears. The Bears are still stinging after a Hail Mary loss to the Commanders. So very interesting week in Chicago, to say the least, with that play having decided that game. So we'll see who bounces back there. Lions and Packers, that's a little bit of a battle for the soul of the NFC North right there. Sunday Night Football gives us Vikings hosting the Colts, who are going with Joe Flacco. Minnesota's trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak all of a sudden. Team 5-0 is trying to avoid dropping to 5-3 now. Rams and Seahawks, that's a really big NFC West tilt. All kinds of implications on that one. And then we got Broncos and Ravens. It's a couple of 5-win teams doing battle. Ravens dumped a game or two that no one expected them to dump. And let's face it, the Broncos have won a game or two that no one expected them to win. And now all of a sudden, this is a game that's got something riding on it in the AFC. So those are just, that's just scratching the surface. Should be a really fun week in the NFL. And again, nobody needs to stress about what the Niners are doing because they ain't playing. So come on out to the Dubliner on Sunday in West Portal and hopefully join us for Pluce Mania 5. You'll get to hear me say such interesting things like, I told you the Warriors are going to be interesting. And are they not? I'm telling you, man, I'm not gonna pretend that I watched with great detail the second Pelicans game, last night's game against the Pelicans. I watched more of that first game than I did the second game. And that's because the World Series game broke out to a level of interesting nobody really saw coming when the Yanks went up 5-0 very early, but that would fade. And we'll get into the Dodgers World Series championship here in just a second. I was watching an awful lot of that World Series game. But every single time I watched, an update or I flipped back to watch a few minutes of basketball, a few things jumped out to me. Number one, Buddy Hield right now has got to be the leading candidate in the NBA for 6th man of the year because Buddy Hield off the bench is a problem for the NBA. And he has been fantastic in his early goings here in his Warriors career. The other thing that I saw just flipping back is that Trace Jackson Davis, look at it this way. Trace Jackson Davis and Draymond Green out on a court together change things. Trace Jackson Davis is having a hell of a start to his sophomore year, and Draymond Green right now, I think, would be a defensive player of the year candidate. Of course, we're 5 games in, so calm down, everybody. But look, Draymond is out there playing with real sizzle and focus. Trace Jackson Davis, I'm telling you, everything I told you about him, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. This kid is a player, capital P, starting NBA center player. Okay? It's fun to see this, man. Fun to see this. Draymond, 5 blocks last night. Just Buddy Hield coming off the pine, Trace Jackson Davis in the starting 5, and Draymond playing like he is looking to prove his own reputation again. Those 3 developments, those 3 dynamic moves right there change how the Warriors operate. And even without Steph, without Wiggins, without DeAnthony Melton, this is a team that really has not missed a beat. Kuminga keeps maturing and scoring. Where does this whole thing go? Wiggins keeps up the pace when he returns from, his back problem. Where does this whole thing go? Because, man, they're looking like the Warriors in games that Steph Curry's not even playing in. Brandon Pajemski? I'm trying to figure out who he is. Who does this guy remind me of? Is he the Warriors version of Patty Mills? Just like this smaller, disruptive, all-court type of player who just is a pain in the pest and then just a pain in the ass if you're playing against him. He's really not great at any one thing, but he is good enough at all the things to be a really valuable piece. Brandon Pajemski, come on down. So, we'll get an update here today, tomorrow on the status of Steph Curry's ankle, how Melton's feeling, what Wiggins is going to look like. But coming up on a big 5-game road trip, the Warriors at 4-1 are sitting very well at the beginning of their year for a year that's already seen, Steph Curry miss 40% of it. It's interesting. Golden State Warriors. Give it to me. Oy, oy, oy! Give it to me good. Again, they're 4-1. It's been very impressive. Also very impressive are some of these NBA valuations, which we've got. New valuations see the Warriors remaining as the most valuable team in the NBA. The Warriors are up 14% year over year. They're up 14% from their 2023 valuation, and now they're listed as $8.8 billion. I'm pretty comfortable rounding that up to 9. The Golden State Warriors are worth $9 billion. If they were put on the market right now, $9 billion easy. Unbelievable. More than the Lakers, more than the Knicks. $9 billion Golden State Warriors. Don't tell me how bad Chris Cohan was at his job. I can see it all now, hindsight. I'll tell you, that's an impressive number. $8.8 billion for the Golden State Warriors. But what has really got the NBA going bonkers this morning as they're looking at all these valuations is what the bottom dwellers, what the least valuable teams in the NBA are now worth. Joe Pampliano reports the Memphis Grizzlies, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Orlando Magic, the Charlotte Hornets, the cabooses, the caboose-eye of NBA valuable teams are all now worth $3 billion or more. So you're getting the door price of NBA ownership is $3 billion. Folks, this league is going to expand. It's going to put a team in Las Vegas. I think it's going to put a team back up in Seattle. And if you're getting, a $3 billion, $4 billion buy-in, because that's now the least going valuation of a team in the league, that's something else, man. And, it's funny that all that new guaranteed TV money has got the NBA sitting in great financial shape, yet you'll see an awful lot of the reaction is, ratings are down. Well, why would it matter if ratings are down with a brand new media deal? Like the money is there. So what does it matter if there are fewer people watching? Also, it's just the beginning of the year. The NBA in October is hardly something that anyone but basketball diehards are clamoring for. So why? Why should you be worried about ratings down? Because the NBA does have a stylistic problem. It really does. This league like any kid that you give a toy to has abused its toy, has overplayed its hand in this 3-point analytics contest. The NBA has got a guy like just some of the most athletically gifted, most talented players in the world just playing a game of horse, just shooting threes, too many threes. Taking away the corner three feels like it's gaining some momentum. Growing the court feels like it's gaining some momentum. A lot of NBA talking heads are looking at a game that is becoming like redundant. And, NBA teams are really interesting because they would all have their own different styles of play. And now there's only one style of play, and that is we're out here to shoot bare minimum 33s tonight. And that's just way too much. It's one thing to be able to hit these threes. It's another thing to not. So there's always drama around the league. I love the NBA. The NBA is equal parts thriving better than ever before and also on the precipice of losing its audience. That's it. You got to love this game. You got to love it. Speaking of lost the audience, I guess this is where we talk to Giants fans and we put our arms around them and just say, sorry, bro. Sorry. It's the way you would be consoling me if Purdue ever won a national championship in anything, right? I mean, you'd be like, sorry, Damon, I know you don't like seeing that. If you're a Giants fan, you cannot be comfortable with the fact that the Dodgers have won a World Series. And it's not one of them COVID World Series. It's not one of them ones that don't count. It's one of them ones that absolutely do count. And, oh, by the way, on the way to winning, all they were was the most watchable, the most discussable, the most interesting, the most exciting, the most fascinating, the most star-studded household name level of star power baseball team that you saw on the planet this year. And they're going to be even better next year. The crazy thing is about this Dodgers team is that they were hurt in all sorts of places that made them vulnerable. All year long, they were banged up. It was an up and down year. And even in their banged up and down year, they won the World Series going away. No real threat at any point in time. They're only going to get better next year. I haven't even said the name Teoscar Hernandez. How good are the Dodgers going to be when they add Juan Soto? Fuck. Good God. Everything a Dodger fan could have wanted, a Dodger fan just got. Shohei Ohtani goes from no winning seasons in Major League Baseball directly to a 50-50 season, first ever in Major League history, and a World Series in his first year in Dodger Blue. Walker Buehler has now fully realized his potential. He's winning World Series games. He's closing World Series games. Mookie Betts is officially the best player on the planet not named Shohei Ohtani. Freddie Freeman is the most clutch guy on the planet not named Mookie Betts or Shohei Ohtani. Have I said Teoscar Hernandez yet? Good God. Good God. By the way, I just looked over. Get those likes up right now. Everybody, get likes up right now. We don't. First of all, it's a small audience today. We don't even have 100 people watching this show right now. For shame. Hit that like button. Do it with some vim and some vigor right now, please. Let me tell you, the one thing that I did get to know covering the Giants all those years and being in the clubhouse all those years is that Dave Roberts is a hell of a guy. And Dave Roberts is going to go from the very good manager who isn't good to win it all to a guy who I think might even win 2 more World Series with this particular Dodgers team that he's got assembled right now. I don't think it's out of the question that they win 2 more championships. And that would put Dave Roberts into the Hall of Fame as a manager one day. And he's a Hall of Fame level good guy. I don't know if anyone looked at him and went, good manager, great man. He's got an embarrassment of riches to pick from. But Dave Roberts, you leave the game he's now got 2. One more gives him 3. One more after that. You win 4 world championships as a manager. You're in the Hall of Fame. Like, that's kind of how that works. So we'll see what ends up happening to Dave Roberts. Again, they're going to be better next year than they were this year. So I tell you all that to tell you this. Buster Posey has his work cut out for him. I saw that Juan Soto is already telling everyone, this is, do you want Juan Soto hitting in the middle of your lineup? The answer is very easy, yes. That guy is unbelievable. You want Juan Soto in your lineup. But Juan Soto doesn't care. Not that he doesn't care to the way it affects his performance. That guy's going to give you a hell of an at-bat in all of his at-bats, and he's incredible. What an incredible talent. But he just said to Major League Baseball, all 30 teams, come and get me. In other words, like, if the Florida Marlins come up with the most amount of money, he'll gladly go be a Florida Marlin, and he'll tap out of being a New York Yankee who are just in the World Series. Like that, there's something to me that rubs me the wrong way about that. You don't care whether you're a Giant or a Dodger or a Padre, which you just were, or a Yankee or a Met or a Royal or a White Sox or by the way, the White Sox have a chance to do the funniest thing in the world here then, right? Go ahead, add Juan Soto. Of course you would want Juan Soto to sign with the San Francisco Giants, but would Juan Soto even care that he was a Giant? He doesn't seem to care about who his next employer is. He will go play for whoever pays him the most, which is, I guess, a normal way to look at it and also a wildly unromantic way to look at all of it. I will say this. The New York Yankees, they got some of the greatest history that sports history has to offer. And now part of that history is arguably the single worst World Series meltdown and peeing down your own leg that we've ever seen. The collapse the Yankees had last night was spectacular. It was real and it was spectacular, Jerry. The Yankees blew a 5-run lead, allowing 5 unearned runs, committed 3 or more errors, and commit a catcher's interference and a balk. It's the first time in any game, regular season or postseason. It's the first time that all of that has happened to any team since earned runs became an official stat in both leagues back in 1913. Let me say that again. For the first time since 1913, the New York Yankees became a team to blow a 5-run lead, allowing 5 or more unearned runs, committing 3 or more errors, including a catcher's interference and a balk. Like, you cannot piss down your own leg more than that in one baseball game. And the Yankees did it in an elimination game in the World Series in which they had a very comfortable 5-0 lead in. Unbelievable. That's what you get for trying to rip off Mookie Betts' hands, you goombas. I have what I think is the best story of the week, but I'm going to share it with you when we get to Club Pluce. So that's just going to give everyone who is listening on just the podcast incentive to come over and watch these videos, because Club Pluce is not part of the podcast. And one of the best stories of the week will not be part of the podcast, but you can get it on Club Pluce, which we're about to get into. But you always get a history lesson to end today's show, any day's show. And here is your history lesson. Today in history. Well, we start with happy birthdays. Happy birthday to director Peter Jackson. Turned 63 years old. Peter Jackson gave you Lord of the Rings in cinema. He won Oscars. He did such a good job with. I'm not a Lord of the Rings guy. I'm not a Tolkien guy. I know for those who are, this shit matters an awful lot. So if you are in that group of people where Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings and Frodo and short dudes with fuzzy toes walking up hills really means a lot to you, this means a lot to you. So happy birthday, Peter Jackson. I, was too busy having sex with women to be that interested in Lord of the Rings. It's got a lot of virgin fingerprints all over it, doesn't it? Anyway, look, happy birthday to Dan Rather. Turns 93 today. Dan Rather, a newsman who must turn around and look at the way news works now and want to kill himself. I'm sorry Dan Rather was alive to see all this. Disgusting news. Did you see that the Washington Post lost 200,000 subscribers because death or democracy dies in darkness and they refuse to endorse a political candidate? Oh, that is some chicken shit journalism of the first degree. Shame on them. Happy birthday to the state of Nevada. It's Nevada Ayada, not Nevada Ayada. Nevada became the 36th state in the United States today in 1864. Happy birthday, Nevada. What a great place you are to get herpes. Today in 2020, we lost the only man to ever truly play and nail the role of James Bond. Today in 2020, we lost Sean Connery, who died at the age of 90. You're the man now, dog. I'll say this about Sean Connery. Incredible James Bond. Some incredible, movie performances beyond James Bond. But whenever I think of Sean Connery, I also think of Catherine Zeta-Jones's butt going under those red strings with the bells tied on them for the movie about stealing the millennium, darling. Happy millennium. So whenever I think of Sean Connery, I also think of Catherine Zeta-Jones's butt. And I thank him for that. Today in 1941, after nearly 15 years of work, Mount Rushmore was officially opened. They decided, we're done. We're good. Now, the original plan for Mount Rushmore included much more than just the faces and the necks of these presidents. They were going to do like the whole, front, the chest, the shoulders. There was supposed to be an awful lot more. But again, what you're looking at today at Mount Rushmore, that took them like 15, 20 years. And they got to that much of it. And they were just like, yeah, we're good. I think we're good. That's enough. We're good. Everyone knows what we got here. We got Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln. So we're good. Everyone get it? Everyone get what we're trying to do here? You get it? You're looking at it? You can see it? Yeah? All right, we're good. By the way, I share my birthday with Aretha Franklin, with Elton John, with Howard Cosell, and the guy who was the chief architect of Mount Rushmore, whatever that guy's name was. I think it was Gustavo something. I don't know. Anyways, March 25th, all around. Finally, today, in what was maybe the first email, 1571, a guy named Martin Luther posted his 95 theses on a church door in Wittenberg, Germany. This manifesto ranted about the indulgence of the Catholic Church and basically turned into the Protestant Revolution, Reformation. And it all started with Martin Luther's 95 Theses, which was an act of such heresy. Oh, my God. And oh, my God, indeed. 1571. So there you go. Hey, have a great time out Halloween tonight. Be generous with the candy that you hand out to the kids. Help those adults too. We got a Tubo Treats. We'll slide some beers down the Tubo Treats to the adults who need some. But take care of each other out there. Look both ways when crossing the street and all that good stuff. We are about to hop into Club Pluce, and I'm going to start with what I think is the story of the week, and then we will get into your comments, your thoughts, your chats, and all of that good stuff. Will we have some super chats waiting for? Oh, you know what? We'll fit the super chats right here into the show right now. This is Michael Carroll, who says, it's a holiday and it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Take a swig for the chat. Thank you, Michael. I got a big night. I got to go to a kid's, preschool, not preschool, but elementary school Halloween day parade. And I'm not going to go in smelling like Michter's. So not doing any shots during today's show, but stick around. Tomorrow we'll be here before you know it. But thank you very much, Michael. Come and do a shot with us. I hope you can at Pluce Mania 5, Dubliner, West Portal. See you there Sunday starting at noon. And Draymond's Burner says, just throwing $2 in the ganja jar because we love you out here, Damon. Yankees suck. They certainly did in that World Series. Game that they blew in spectacularly historical fashion just last night. How about that? Hey, thanks to all of you for watching, for listening. Hit like and subscribe. Thank you for listening on the podcast, but this is where we got to leave you. So I will remind you that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone. I mean, these LED lights are better than the disco ball. I mean, the LED lights might be the lights that actually replace the world's squeakiest disco ball should we reach that point in time in studio decorations. Anyway, before we get into your chat, by the way, Gareth, boo. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween. Yeah, I'm so sorry I disappointed some of you by not wearing the chicken outfit today. The fact that any of you remember that is kind of amazing. The chicken outfit. Sip of the day right away. It's like Damon swinging at a first pitch. Yeah, I was aggressive on the coffee today. The scouting report is jump on this first pitch. James Jones says it's not Niner related, but I'm still flying from last night. Dodgers got this one from my dad. James, out of respect for your dad, congratulations. If you're a Dodger fan, last night meant a lot, for sure. Oh, congratulations to Ike. Yeah, his sandwich shop turned 17 years old today. JJ Rader, no chicken suit. My disappointment is immeasurable. Well, I hope it's not so immeasurable you won't be measuring out those bags of weed to bring to Pluce Mania. I'm sorry to let you down, JJ Rader. I never want to let you down. Of all the people to let down, never want to let you down. Damon, I'm eating an Ike's right now on the Phantom bread. You're doing it on the purple bread? David Isaac, get it done, David. That's awesome. All right. So since we're talking about what you can put on a sandwich, that brings me to an incredible story that I saw this week. I got to share this one with you. All right. A group of thieves stole 22 tons. So it's hard to steal 22 tons of anything. Like, how do you pick that up? How do you get that out of wherever you're stealing it from, right? A group of thieves stole 22 tons of rare cheddar cheese worth an estimated $400,000. According to the BBC, artisanal cheesemakers in the country who produced aged cheddar cheese, which can sell upwards of $27 a pound, well, they appeared to be in for a sizable payday when someone claiming to represent a chain of supermarkets in France approached London-based Neal's Yard Dairy to place an order for 22 metric tons. This is 4.85 million pounds of cheddar cheese over the summer. So somebody invented a pretend grocery store chain. This dairy company did no, research. They just got the invoice and said, okay, let's meet the order. They met the order. They produced the cheese. They shipped it to a location somewhere in France that as soon as they shipped it there, it all disappeared. 3 different cheesemakers were recruited to fulfill an order that was shipped off to France in September, but things took a turn for the worse when they failed to receive the nearly $400,000 that they were charging the buyer, who went radio silent as soon as the cheddar was delivered. It's unclear where the cheese has ended up once it left London. Nobody knows where the cheese is. Who moved the cheese? Where's the cheese? $400,000, 22 metric tons of cheese has just disappeared. They believe it was shipped off to Russia or the Middle East because those, regions and countries have less scrutiny about, black market stuff just coming into their borders. So, okay. Who moved the cheese? Who took the cheese? That's a hell of a scam. How do you even come up with that? Hey, I know what we're going to do. We're going to invent a supermarket chain, order 22 metric tons of cheese, and then just make off with the cheese. They'll never see it coming. And they didn't. And they don't know where the cheese is. And that is far and away my favorite story of the week. The cheese story. By the way, Skills coming in here. I'm an old, fat, Dodger-hating man. Here's money. Thank you, Skills. Yeah, if you're a Giant fan, you are officially allowed to hate the Dodgers. All right, let's officially hop into the chat. We got a lot of people who love James, and, James shared the passing of his father with us last year. We got to know James very well. Says, thank you, Dan. I grabbed his picture off my mantle in the 7th inning, and I held it to the next day. The bond we share with our fathers, with our mothers, with our family in sports, it lasts beyond a lifetime. It's special. It really, really is. Skills report said, oops, I forgot to say I'm black too. Here's more money. Well, thank you. I appreciate you hating the Dodgers and being black all at once. Thank you very much, Skills. Alexander Boy Entertainment just dropping a woo in a Ric Flair voice. We will always appreciate that. F the Dodgers always, says Iceman 0072. A lot of Giants fans, I'm on Twitter. I see what the comments are, and a lot of Giants fans are accusing the Dodgers of you just bought a championship. You bought a championship. You know what? Championships are available at the right price, so I suggest the Giants go out and spend enough money to buy themselves one too. Start with Juan Soto, for fuck's sakes. Damon should have dressed up as Ray Ratto for Halloween. I mean, how do I dress as depressed? I still got to reach out to Ray, see if I can get him on. Someone asked me, how come Ray hasn't been on? I'm like, I stopped asking. He's not exactly burning down the door to get on, but I have stopped asking. Maybe I'll circle back to him, see. I just don't think I can stand being rejected by Ray. Skills report says, I should be upset about the champion Dodgers, yet I'm not. Might be time to see a doctor. No, that just means, you're maturing, man. That's all that means. You can see excellence, and you can spot excellence, and you'll recognize it, and you'll respect it. I mean, Ohtani Betts Freeman is the most interesting 1, 2, 3 you can put in anybody's lineup, in the history of baseball. I mean, they're so good. Again, I haven't even said Teoscar Hernandez yet. Joji says, Brandon Ayuk might never be the same when he comes back. Look at what happened to Marcus Lattimore with a similar injury. Well, Marcus Lattimore had one of the grossest injuries we've ever seen. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Brandon Ayuk is guaranteed to return to what level of Brandon Ayuk? There is no guarantee. The only thing I can tell you is that they do tie ACLs and MCLs and PCLs back together. And if he puts his very best into rehabbing the injury, everything should be fine. If he rests on the contract that is guaranteed and the money that he's got coming and kind of jakes it through any level of rehab, him never being the same guy again is more likely of an outcome of him being better than he ever was. That's for sure. That could turn into one of the worst contracts in franchise history, for sure. Sporticus says CMC is more of a key that opens all doors than ever. I agree, man. And, I know Larry was really down on my optimism of what he might bring to the table, but here's the only way I evaluate the player is if he's healthy enough to play, he's maybe healthy enough to play for the rest of the year. I'm not saying overuse, overworkload the guy, but if he's out there, he's out there. And he's going to remain out there until he's not out there again for whatever injury or reason that is. Worrying about that guy might get hurt and only applying it to a small handful of players and not everyone that you're looking at is ridiculous. Everyone could be hurt on any play all the time. We know this. The Madden curse is real. Well, let's see if you can come on back and change people's minds on that. Damon, can you bet in California? That is from Hutsa Chicken 17. It is not legal, but you can use BetUS to place a bet from anywhere because it is offshore. It is reputable. Check out BetUS. At one point, you should play the money line. Better Rhymes. This will not be a 1-point game. Yeah, I probably should have just put it on the money, honey, but it's not going to be that much better. TJD is the best big man rim runner since Bogut. I never even thought Bogut was really a rim runner as much as he was a skilled big, more like Jokic-y than he was a rim runner. Like I consider JaVale McGee to be more of a rim runner, fit the definition of a rim runner. And Trace Jackson Davis, I think, can be better than both of those guys. I think Trace Jackson Davis can have a 15-year-long NBA career. That's what I think of Trace Jackson Davis. I think he's going to be crucial to the Warriors going forward. Programmable LED lights, America. Yeah, Sporticus. It's really incredible. This isn't the goofy blinking shit that we used to get as kids. Billy Garza here says, CMC is a fake injury. The 49ers are going to bust him out in explosive fashion, saving him for their Super Bowl run. I hope you're right. I hope that this whole first 8 weeks was approached with such a laissez-faire attitude that they're just saving the best for last. Bears and Cardinals brings back memories of Denny Green. Yeah, you want to crown him? Crown him. Let's see what else we got going on. Ooh, another super chat. Here we go. This is Craig's Kitchen. Just throwing it in the jar there. He got mine. He's got 5 on it. Thank you very much. $2 going in the ganja jar. Always appreciated. I tell you, if you are a member, that's supporting the channel. You offer a super chat, that's supporting the channel. You go ahead, you take care of my sponsors by patronizing them, by going to Pluce Mania and joining me at the Dubliner this Sunday at noon, by going to Ike's and getting a delicious sandwich, by signing up at BetUS. That is how you support this channel as well. Memberships are indeed available. That coffee is done, baby. John, one more. Uno mas. Crazy hot fire. Thank you so much, John. Appreciate it. Just keep giving it to TJD. I'm telling you, Trace Jackson Davis has got Draymond Green excited about the Golden State Warriors again. I really believe that. Damon, don't understand, why is Steve Kerr giving Trace Jackson Davis more minutes in the game? Why isn't he giving? Is that what you're saying? Well, I mean, he's playing 13 dudes. He's playing 13 guys. If the goal is load management is now being handled by minute management because I'm playing the entire freaking roster every night, I guess that's a new way to go about reinventing the wheel. We'll see how long it actually lasts, and the Warriors can keep that up. Sporticus again saying, Yanks blew the game. Yes, errors. But Cole failing to cover first base to get out of a bases loaded, no out jam. It was unbelievable. Truly an unbelievable moment from a locked in talent. I mean, Garrett Cole is not someone that just sloughs off responsibilities. And for him to not go cover first base, the argument I'm guessing is he thought Rizzo had it. But dude, it was awful. Pajemski, a fearless soldier. Gareth, I'm telling you, man, he's got a little Patty Mills in him. I think, right? Little Patty Mills. Guy's just a pest. He's a freaking pain in the ass. Yeah, it's hard being a Giants fan right now. Oh, my God, does Buster Posey have a lot of work to do? Imagine having to keep up with the Dodgers. New era. Hope we see you Sunday, new era. F the Dodgers. Dodgers going to go after Soto. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Thanks for nothing, Farhan. Carl, who will be at Pluce Mania. Carl says, can somebody explain to me how Aaron Judge is the closest thing to Barry Bonds since Barry Bonds in the regular season? An absolute disaster in the playoffs. He went full Josh Hamilton last night. Look, I mean, I'm old enough, Carl, to remember that was the book on Bonds. All these great regular seasons, but his postseason numbers until that World Series against Anaheim were not good. Baseball's funny, man. That sport is built to break your heart and humble you, and that was a rough postseason for Aaron Judge indeed. Will Smith has won 5 straight World Series titles. A Will Smith. I don't think it's the same Will Smith every time, but being Will Smith in baseball, pretty good. Damon, we out here. Thank you, Draymond's burner. I'm glad you out there. You need this podcast. You're going to get this podcast. A lot of effing the Dodgers going on. And then again, you got Crazy Juice saying, I'm just happy to see my Dodgers win an actual World Series title. And thank God I didn't have a seizure while watching these games, because the last time that happened, we lost to the Astros. Yeah, Crazy Juice, if you are a Dodger fan, what can I tell you, man? Congrats. You rooted for a team that makes everybody jealous. Your girlfriend's got the big tits. There's no doubt. Makes everybody go, oh man. I wish I had that. I wish the San Francisco Giants were the LA Dodgers. Oh my God. Well, how much fun would it be to actually root for that team? Again, Shohei Ohtani is my favorite baseball player, maybe of all time. And now he's just going to spend the next decade in Dodger blue. That's tough. John says, Damon would never close his chat to us. Never. That's some chicken shit behavior. I would never close. my chat to you, my good chatters, my Plucers. Juan Soto is a money mercenary. That will affect his public legacy. Might not matter to him when he reflects from his couch in Cooperstown, though. Yeah, look, I mean, it is. It's very mercenary-like to just say, hey, anybody. You know, I was just in a World Series with the New York Yankees. I have won a World Series with the Washington Nationals. I got out of Washington. I don't blame him for that. Then he's in a really good situation in San Diego, but that's going to be untenable for them. So then he goes to the New York Yankees, and so he's been in good situations, better situations, and now he's saying, for the right price, put me in any situation. I don't care. There is something about that I don't like. Something about that I do not like. You know, it basically takes Juan Soto, who, you know, is nice enough to be the baseball player that you want to get married to, and then you're just like, oh, it's just a hooker. Like, he will come and perform his services for you if the money is right, but there's no real desire to be together, and there's nothing going on here but a transactional relationship. You know, I mean, we're taking the romance out of baseball when you say things like that. I don't care who I play for as long as the money is right. Ugh. Seems like a lot of people like the cheese story. Buying championships rarely works in baseball. Actually, you can directly correlate success, postseason appearances, and postseason success to payrolls. So it does work. Getting the actual championship, that's still baseball happens. But just to be in the orbit of the planets that actually can orbit around the World Series trophy, it takes money to do that. Unless you're, of course, the Giants, and then you spend a whole bunch of money on platoon guys and Korean slap hitters. We should have known, by the way. I mean, really should have known, by the way, that the Dodgers were going to win it all when Ohtani's interpreter put all that money down on him. Dodger future bets. Skills report coming in with $2.36. Very random. I appreciate it. I just spilled my Walmart root beer. Here's some money. Protect your root beer at all times, brother. Thank you. Chef A, she says, Pajemski looks a little bit like Jeremy Allen White. I love the bear and I love pods. He does. He does a little. You know what Pajemski's got? He's got those droopy eyes. Got the droopy eye syndrome, right? And it makes him, I don't know if the word's lovable, but yeah, he's got the droopy eyes. YouTube is for the people. Absolutely it is, especially over here. I've been a Giants fan, a Raiders fan for 42 years, and I'm loving this group. This group of Plucers, you mean? Or this group of, you can't mean this group of A's or this group of Giants or this group of Raiders. Either way, it's always good to have you here, Craig's Kitchen. J49, happy Halloween, FLA. Again, I'm going to be putting on that chicken costume. Putting on the chicken costume, and I will be going to my kids' Halloween parade today. I don't know if there's other adults wearing costumes. I normally am not the adult wearing a costume, but when your 5-year-old says, Dad, will you wear the chicken outfit? You wear the chicken outfit. Shaolor. Damon, are you going to do a call-in show on Friday? Yes, we will. We will absolutely take some video calls tomorrow. After a wake-up, we'll come out here and do a Sports Phone Friday, and that's what we'll do with tomorrow's show. It'll be a show, show without a topic. It's a show about nothing. So, yes, we will be taking some calls tomorrow, video calls tomorrow coming up on a Sports Phone Friday. Rick Mightybone Feliciano says, damn, I wish I could be at the Dubliner on Sunday, but I'm performing a private gig. Well, good for whoever booked you for that private gig. Guy's a hell of a horn player. Rick Mightybone, we will miss you. Next time, brother. Next time. Will I be taking the calls on this channel? Yes, only this channel. It's the only place where I can take a call these days. Enjoy the family. I'm gonna. Tonight's one of the more fun nights in my neighborhood. All the kids coming through. I mean, Halloween is just hitting both my boys. They're in that sweet spot of Halloween. One is 5, the other is 3. You know, the decorations at houses are just scary enough to kind of scare them, but they also understand it's just decoration, so they're curious. They like being scared. They don't want to see the Michael Jackson Thriller video, but they want to watch it between, you know, like this. They kind of want to watch it. They're Halloween curious, to say the least. And it's going to be so much fun. Trick-or-treating with the boys, their little group of friends. It's awesome. It really is. So that's it, boys and girls. 69, 70 likes. About 100 people watching. That means a few of you need to lean forward and hit that like button. But that's it for today's show. I got to go pick up Jillian from the BART station. And we got to go over to the kids' elementary school. I'm going to be dressed like a chicken. So if you see a big man dressed like a chicken, you'll know that your kid goes to my kid's elementary school too. In the meantime, though, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for hanging out here in Club Pluce. Thanks to the supers. Thanks to the chatters. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to the Warriors for being interesting. Thank you to everyone who plans on joining us at the Dubliner for the bye week. Thanks to the Houston Texans who are going to win a Thursday night football bet for me tonight. At least I certainly hope they do. And there it is. That's the show. You are the best. Thank you for hanging out with us. And please do remember, we already told you that sports don't build character. They reveal it. So I guess this is where we tell you from our perch here in Club Pluce that you don't have to go home. You just can't stay here.